On today's episode of Path Monk Presents, I have a very special guest with me joining today. Please welcome the co-founder of SAMY Alliance, Marta Nicolas. Marta, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm a huge fan of your agency and all the amazing work you guys have done over the last decade. Thank you so much for joining us today and really excited to have this conversation with you.
Hi, thank you for your kind words, and I'm very excited to be here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our pleasure. So for all of our listeners out there, tell us, who is SAMY Alliance and when did you begin to build this agency?
Okay, so SAMY Alliance, we define ourselves as an integrated social-first, data-enabled digital marketing and communications company. We started our journey 10 years ago, originally in Spain, but since then we've expanded into 40 markets and grown a lot along the way. And yeah, what we do is basically we leverage creativity and technology, and our purpose is, as we define ourselves, our purpose is to make brands move forward. And what we mean by this is that we help them innovate and we help them use their resources wisely, and decide where to put their efforts and ultimately like evolve and improve their mix. And we do this by using insights and by using creativity and strategic thinking. And therefore, what we do is what we like to call unveil hidden opportunities for the brands.
Amazing. That's a really great overall. And I'm just incredibly in awe of, this amazing agency you built from the ground up over the last decade. So in terms of your clients, I know that you've had well-known clients such as Netflix, L'Oreal, Reebok, the North Face, and Microsoft. How do your clients typically find you? What would you say are your top client acquisition channels? Can you give us an insight onto this?
Yeah, of course. Well, we internally we work on three pillars, or basically we divide our efforts into awareness and consideration and conversion initiatives. Like very obvious focus. So in the first group, awareness, what we do is we try to have a good network of partnerships and presence in industry events and awards, and always keep like being out there in order to be there top of mind of our potential clients. The second group, that would be consideration. What we do is try to have a very sound, solid social media presence, a compelling newsletter where we show our work, and that usually helps us like at least start conversations or like kind of a lead magnet, for either web traffic or even direct leads. And the third group, which is usually the hardest, which is actually converting, we do have an active sales team in place. And what we do there is we are constantly generating materials that are helpful for our clients, like white papers and reports and all sorts of assets that are answering questions that or challenges that we know that our clients have. So the challenge there is finding creative ways of getting these materials in front of our clients. And lastly, I would say word of mouth obviously is crucial for us, because I think that a happy long-term relationship with a client that is based on trust and on doing a good delivery and a good work is obviously the best acquisition channel. So we try to be always obsessed with that, and we try that our teams are also obsessed with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's incredible. Thanks for giving me an insight as to like all the different avenues how your clients find you overall. So now I want to talk to you about the website. So in your own words, what would you say are the major strengths of the SAMY Alliance website?
For us, we're always looking of new ways of improving our presence, our digital presence, where this is the website or this is our socials, because it's obviously generally, not always, but generally the first impression that our clients get from us. So I think, in my opinion, one of the biggest strengths that we have is that we have, as you mentioned, a well-known portfolio of happy clients. And we have very, very cool campaigns with them. So there's always something new and there's always something shiny to check out at SAMY.com. And that's also like together with the content that I was mentioning earlier, no, there's a lot that we put out there. So that I think that serves as a major strength, because there's always something new to discuss, or there's always something new to show a new lead or a potential client, or even a potential team member that might join the company, no?
Yeah.
So yeah, in my opinion, that's one of the biggest strengths. If we look at not weaknesses, but maybe challenges, I think one of the yeah the challenges that we have is that we're a global company, so it's really hard to cater to all different markets where we have a presence. We have a presence in Spain, in the UK, in Brazil, in Chile. So that's different languages, that's different cultures. So it's hard sometimes to convey that local feeling, or to talk to a specific local market when you're a global company. So that's an area of opportunity, and again, we're always looking of ways to work through that.
Yeah, definitely. So then with being the co-founder and with having this global company, how do you stay up to date within the market without feeling so overwhelmed? What helps you to work through the noise and uh, take in the content that you feel is not only valuable, but then to implement it into your day-to-day tasks?
Yeah, there's a lot out there. Me personally, I am very picky with, for example, newsletters that I'm subscribed. Like I used to be subscribed to 1,000 newsletters that I never read. So right now I'm subscribed to maybe 3 newsletters that help me either on a personal or a professional level, no? And choose those quite wisely, and maybe evolve over time, and get out of one and come into a different one. But that's helpful. And lately I've been a lot into podcasts as well. I find that super interesting, because there's so many opportunities to find the time to actually listen to something, no? And I've been introduced lately to several very interesting ones, sometimes covering economic or tech or social or political even, and sometimes covering personal stories of other entrepreneurs, and their success stories and their journey, and their challenges. And I find that extremely helpful as well.
Yeah, no, totally. And I agree with you too, where, it's super important to narrow down to 2 or 3 to where you know that they're going to benefit you and help you, where it's not so overwhelming. I feel like that's what a lot of marketers tend to struggle with in the beginning is they want to follow everything, where you should start to niche down. Okay, this is who are the experts in these fields. Let me stick to these people and follow them. So
On it, even who's expert, but also what am I interested in, because sometimes you're just like, I should know about all of these things. And if you're not interested, then that becomes like another burden and another thing to take care of, when it shouldn't be like, I have to do this, but I want to do this, no? So whatever you're good at, whatever you're genuinely interested at, like nurture that and try to avoid the rest, because at the end of the day, the time is so scarce that you just have to kind of choose your battles, no? So that's something interesting to look into as well.
Yeah, you summed it up perfectly. So now I'm going to switch gears here, and I want to talk to you about how you are as a leader. So what are things that you focus on in your day-to-day tasks? I know every day looks different for you, but what are the main goals that you focus on within your company?
Well, because of my background, and because of, again, what I'm interested at, and what I'm good at, I'm very close to the SAMY brand and to the value proposition. And I work a lot in trying to ensure that everything that we do aligns with that brand, and that everyone that is part of SAMY is on board with it. Whether that's marketing efforts or sales efforts, or even our teams, no, the onboarding of new people. Also with 400 employees, like our efforts, my personal efforts are very much into being more efficient and more scalable, and well, mostly in terms of processes and communication, and making sure that we are trying to put the right information at the right time to the right people. And lastly, I would say, again, because of my background, I worked SAMY has been on for 10 years, no? But before that, I was working in L'Oreal. I was working in the side of the client. So I'd like to still be very close to some accounts, both in the pitch phase, but also actual clients that we work with, because I think that gives me a good grasp of the reality of the market and of the industry, and what are the challenges and the opportunities there. So I really try to, obviously, I can't be on top of every single account, but I choose, I choose accounts that I like to be close with in order to grasp that reality, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's really smart as well, because as you were explaining, it goes back to, focusing on what you are interested in and where you enjoy it, to where it will just naturally come very easily for you. Yeah, exactly. So now we're coming close to the end of our interview, and I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, of course.
Perfect. So what is the last book you read? Or if not the last book you read, what podcast would you recommend for our audience?
Both. A book. It's funny. I always, before, no, but now that we have Kindles and electronic devices, I always like to keep my brain divided in two. No, I'm always reading something fun and easy, and that keeps my mind off things. And I'm always reading something like work related or that helps me in some way also. So in the my readings on the personal level are very like easy, summer reading. So right now, for example, the last book I read was Daisy Jones and the Six, and then I saw the TV show, and that's very easy. It keeps your mind out of things, music and love, so that's one. And the other professional book that I was reading, and I'm actually finishing right now, is called Radical Candor, and it's a book about leadership and being assertive in the ways that you give feedback, but at the same time never losing your kindness and your human side, which is crucial. In terms of podcasts, I was very recently introduced to a podcast called All In. And that one is, as I was mentioning earlier, sometimes they discuss more social issues or political issues or economic or tech. It's very up to date. It's very, very interesting. And back home, as I said, I'm from Spain, and back home there's this podcast called Outliers. And what they do is interviews to founders and to entrepreneurs from the Spanish entrepreneurial world, and that's super interesting to learn more about their journey firsthand.
Awesome. No, I'm going to check out that podcast. I love podcasts, so I'm going to check that one out. Now, my next question is, for anyone who wants to start their own company and they may be afraid to take those next steps, what is the advice that you can give them?
I mean, there's no better time than now. Like we will always find our like an excuse, and a way of pushing things and procrastinating, because we are naturally, I think everybody's like a little risk averse, so there will always be like, no, but right now I'm looking into buying a new home, or right now I'm just starting with a new relationship, or now it's not the moment, now I should be focusing on this, I should be focusing on that. You have to trust your gut. It's by no means, it's not easy. Like whoever comes, I think, to start a new business because they want to be their own boss and they want their own freedom, that's the worst mindset that you can have, because you are your own worst boss, and you'll never be free. You will always be attached to your company, but it's fulfilling. It's a fun journey, full of learnings, and yeah, there's no better time than now to start. When we began SAMY 10 years ago, our tagline was hundreds of roads are at your feet, and there's always like a way, and there's always like a path that you can follow to fulfill the next thing that you want to achieve. So I would stick to that and follow your instinct and just go for it.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that advice as well. And I do agree with you. It's never the right time. You just have to jump into it, and you just have to learn as you go.
Yep.
So now we're at the end of our interview today, and I want to thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. But I also want to give you the last word. If anyone were to forget about everything that we've talked about today in this interview, what do you want them to remember about SAMY Alliance?
Well, we want people to know that we're an ecosystem of integrated solutions, that we do amazing work for amazing clients based on data and creativity and strategic thinking. And I would tell them to go check our work at SAMY.com.
Definitely. Amazing. Well, Marta, thank you so much again. It was a real pleasure to have you on the podcast today.
You're very welcome. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you. And for all of our listeners out there, check us out next week on Pathmonk Presents.